I thought we'd take some quotes from Goal.com. We do this occasionally here and read some of them. I thought a real funny one was the guy named Football Mex. He's from Mexico, and this is on Goal.com about the game. He said, so Rafa Marquez was right. Ha ha, the United States national team equals old men trying to figure out how to play soccer. What the hell is he talking about? Did he not look at the bevy of young players we have on that team?
Yeah, it's just ignorance shining. The rivalry overpowering his rational thinking.
I don't think he has rational thinking. Yeah, I just think he's an ignorant piece of garbage.
I think he's just making a slander against U.S. fans and U.S. players. And, it happens both ways. I think U.S. fans do the exact same thing, although they don't say stuff like that because, well, Mexicans are known for knowing how to play.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we don't know how to play. We do know how to play. Otherwise, we wouldn't have held on to quite a long streak of wins against Mexico in the U.S.
Yeah.
Of recent. And minus blowouts.
Yeah.
It's just a stupid comment.
Well, here's some more. Here's some more.
I like stupid comments.
Yeah, James, 916. Here's a U.S. fan. He says, bye, Gooch. You had a horrible game. Very disappointed in our back line. Bring in the next clown like Omar. I mean, what a fucking moron this guy is. James, 916. Don't go to soccer sites anymore. You're obviously blind, and no offense to blind people, but... James just does not need to be calling games or obviously analyzing them.
What part of Gooch's game against Ecuador, or even the half he had against Honduras, made him think that he's terrible? I'm so blown away by this because I thought if anybody had one of the more solid performances on our back line, it was Gooch and Chandler.
Well, he's just an idiot, or he doesn't know the difference between Gooch and Reem. And actually, Reem didn't have a horrible game after he made the mistake, but that's all you need to make.
One blunder is all it takes.
Yep, unfortunately.
To ruin everything for you, yeah.
Yeah. There's a guy named question mark. When was the last time? Yeah. When was the last time Juan Agudelo scored? What happened to Charlie Davies? Well, we know what happened to Charlie Davies. Why don't you just read a paper, you moron? And then he says, calling German American and Mexican American players is not the answer. Soon the USA national team will be made up only of foreigners. What about the term German American and Mexican American doesn't question mark understand?
Hey, maybe he's just set in his ways back in the 90s, when we had like Ernie Stewart and Tav Ramos.
Well, yeah, but even so, they were.
I'm just saying that we've always had players in the comment about Danny Williams who had never stepped foot in the U.S. until recently. And you know what? They are still U.S. citizens.
They're naturalized citizens.
Fact. That's the matter of fact. If they have citizenship, they have every right to play and represent the U.S. as anybody who was born in Nebraska and lived there and raised and born in their entire life.
Yep.
It's the exact same right. They are no less American than anybody else, and I hate this topic because they're like, oh, they're not Americans. They lived in Germany their entire life. Well, who cares?
Who gives a shit?
They're still a U.S. citizen.
Yeah,
get over yourself.
It's ridiculous. His father is in the United States military. I don't know how much more American his father could possibly be. Next guy.
Speaking of which, with Williams, I thought it was really cool how they talked about how emotional his dad got that he was repping the U.S.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool.
I thought Williams looked a little emotional singing the national anthem too.
Yeah, no, I think Williams is loving it being out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Galazzo says on Goal.com, and God, it didn't take me very long to find these. By the way, I hate to say that about Goal.com. I'm sure they do some good work. You can't expect much from a country where soccer is at best the fifth in popularity behind hockey. Shut up, Galazzo. What a freaking idiot. And Brett, you know the numbers better than I do. There are more kids playing soccer in this country than you can shake a stick at. It doesn't matter that it's behind hockey. And by the way, it's barely behind hockey, if it is at all.
Our league here in the U.S., MLS, is actually getting a lot more attendance and some of the other big, more popular sports. So, I mean, we have the most kids playing the sport at a younger age. Of course, I know it's a recreational sport that a lot of parents put their kids into because, well, it's good to exercise, Yeah. And not all of them stick with the sport, and some of them go with the generic masses of old, where they think that soccer's a pussy sport, and they start bashing on it hardcore. In all honesty, we have the fan base. It's there. The problem is that we are such a diverse country. We have, and you see it when we played Ecuador. We see it when we play Honduras. We had just as many fans supporting the opposing team as we did the U.S. teams.
Yeah.
I mean, we have tons. Soccer is unbelievably popular in the U.S. You only have to look at the World Cup or any other major soccer event to know that.
Right.
And it's another stupid comment.
Yep.
He's primarily focused purely on MLS and all the U.S. leagues, whereas, yes, it's not as popular. But you know what? Soccer as a whole in the U.S. is unbelievably popular.
Yeah. And in the last dumbass comment of the day, Brett Summers, I'm sorry his name's Brett. Yeah.
Not me.
Brett Summers said, and he's from the United States, I think it's time for us to face that we aren't any good in soccer and try other sports. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
I love the tone you gave him, by the way.
Like, we're a communist country, and tomorrow Obama should announce that no one from here on out shall play soccer. We will all play water polo, because that's going to be the next sport we decide we're going to be good at. Listen, moron, we can't win the world championships in basketball. We can't win the world championships in baseball half the time, and we invented those sports. So why don't they just keep focusing on those, and let soccer will continue to grow on its own. We don't need to try other sports. Like we have like a national sports program like communist Russia or the Soviet Union did, or East Germany. Where's this guy living? Yeah, what a moron. Anyhow, well, I think that's it for the morons right now. There were more, but those were the top ones.
Well, we could do we could do an entire show on them, and we have in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
We stopped doing that.
Yeah, we did stop doing that. I think actually you and D-Rec hosted those.
For the most part, yeah. I figured that we'd piss off all of our listeners, and
well,
some people would find it funny, but we'd end up having a small contingency actually listening to us if we ended up bashing everybody. So
yeah, well, you don't have to bash everybody, because not everybody. I mean, some people make an argument that you're against.
Yeah.
But they'll make it in a logical way, and that's fine. And that's fine. We just agree to disagree. But
we were talking about this beforehand. It's never the majority. The majority most people never really agree with everybody else. But it's not the mass majority that are idiots. It's the very vocal few that really make themselves known and really strike home that they're dumb.
Yeah.
And it's those that really stick with everybody else. Like I said, while most of the majority of people tend to disagree with one another and tend to get on separate sides of an argument, sort of like, let's just use Bob Bradley, Michael Bradley, nepotism to an extent. They were two completely different sides, but they were extremes on both sides as well.
Yeah.
And those are the people you always remember.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Oh, just to close out the night before we end it here, Brett, Carlos Tevez, because it was a big topic on a lot of sites, refusing to play for Man City. I just want to say before, we had a show earlier on in the year where I think I called him one of the biggest whiners of all time, and I think I mentioned that, what was the reason anybody would ever want this guy on their team at this point, because he is one of the biggest crybabies to ever play the game. I just want to close out to say I was right, and I'm sorry that those comments were edited out of the show, the past show.
I recall you saying that at least once.
Yeah.
At least once.
Well, when he refused to play the other week, it didn't surprise me, I can tell you that. And it shouldn't have surprised anybody on Man City, and it shouldn't have surprised Mancini at all, or Mancini. The guy is he might as well be wearing a Goldilocks. He's such a melodramatic drama queen. Anyhow, that's it for us today, Brett. On the Straight Red Card, we'll check you next time. Take care.